22-year-old Lindsay Allen is suing eBay seller 26-year-old Karen Stevens for selling her a fake Louis Vuitton purse. Karen insists the purse is real.
Miss Allen, you purchased what you believe to be an authentic designer bag on the internet from the defendant. I think you paid $250 for it. When it arrived, it was your belief that it was a fake.
Yes.
And you spent another $35 to have someone examine it. And you are going to be showing me, according to your complaint, that it was determined that the bag was, in fact, a fake.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens says there is no way that the bag was fake, and she's going to prove to me that the bag was authentic. Can I see the bag, please?
Yes.
Why did you want this bag, by the way?
I've always wanted an authentic Louis Vuitton purse. I did not know that what I was getting was a replica. I do have a real one here to compare.
I'd like to take a look at it, please.
The serial number on the authentic one is underneath the pouch.
This pouch?
Yeah, the interior pouch, right underneath it.
Oh, you would never know that unless you looked very carefully.
And there's no serial number on the replica as well. As you can see also, the stitching is uneven. In authentic Louis Vuitton purses, the stitching is usually close to perfect.
There are several things that are different.
Yes.
There is no authentication on the lock, and there is an authentication on the lock on this one. Have you ever examined a real one as compared to this one?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Stevens, what do you do for a living?
I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I sell on eBay.
Where did you get this bag from?
My mom.
Where did she get it from?
A good friend of hers. It was actually a gift.
Well, it's a fake.
I don't believe that it is.
Yeah, it is. Sure it is. Would you send it back to her? She's going to look at several things. First of all, she's going to look at the piping. She's going to look at the serial numbers inside. She's going to look at the lock. First, take a look at the lock on both. Take a look at the lock on the real one. Turn it over. One also has a serial number on the bottom. The one that you sold her does not.
Yes.
Now open up the real one. Open up the flap, and you'll see a serial number underneath the flap. See the serial number?
Yes.
Open up yours. See a serial number?
No, I do not.
Got it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You look like a very nice lady. She wants her money back. When did she call you and tell you that she wanted her money back?
She emailed me the purse saying that it was fake, and I said that I didn't believe that it was. And if she did believe that it was fake, I sent 7 different, very detailed pictures to her of the purse that show the stitching. If she had any idea that it wasn't authentic or thought that it wasn't, I sent extra pictures.
Listen to me. You sent her the pictures for her to try to prove that it was a real purse.
Exactly.
But it's not.
But why did she not argue that if she thought that it was? Because I'm not a cheater or a stealer.
Now, I understand that, but she wanted her money back. And if you had said, listen, if you're dissatisfied with the purse, I'll give you your money back, we wouldn't be here today. But in order for her to prove to you that it was fake, she took it to somebody to authenticate it. Do you have the report? Can I see it, please?
Yes.
You want to sell things? That's what happens. I mean, if you don't know that something is authentic and you advertise it as a Louis Vuitton bag, you're advertising it as an authentic Louis Vuitton bag.
Yes.
Turns out that it is not an authentic Louis Vuitton bag. I can see that. I've shown you some examples of where you can look and see it. I don't think you're a dishonest lady. I think you thought perhaps she was mistaken. Maybe you thought she was trying to scam you and would send you back a different bag, which is what you say in your answer. In the meantime, the big bag goes back to the plaintiff. The little bag stays with the defendant, and she gets her money back, plus the cost of the expert, $285. Thank you very much. You're 2 nice ladies.
Brenda O'Henley and her brother Daniel are suing their former tenant, Jared Debnam, for unpaid rent and utilities. Jared says his living arrangements were substandard, so he's not paying.
You are brother and sister, is that correct?
Yes.
You bought a condo together?
Yes, 2 years ago.
You live together?
Yes.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Get along?
Yeah,
Work
for the
together,
most
too.
part.
Fabulous. How much was this condo?
It was $770,000. It's now worth $950,000.
Perfect. So you bought this condo and you did a very foolish thing. You decided to take in a third roommate.
Yes.
That would be you. And according to your complaint, he owes you a whole bunch of money for rent, and primarily for rent, utilities. Mr. Debnam says, well, there was never really a formal agreement about him paying so much per month, and he's got a whole host of other problems that he encountered while living with you. You moved a girlfriend in shortly after he moved in, so he didn't feel as if that was right. There was a leak, and some of his clothes got moldy, right?
Correct.
Have you always lived in the United States of America?
Yes, I have.
So you know that this is what we call a free country.
Correct.
If you don't like something, or if you don't like a place where you're living, what can you do?
Choose to move on?
Right. You don't choose to stay, kvetch, and don't pay. You move on to where there isn't a girlfriend, where there isn't a leak, where there isn't mold, but you don't stay and don't pay. Now, you lived there for a year, and you did pay some money in a bulk. You know, you didn't pay it by month because you were sort of not working, whatever. You got a check, and you gave them $4,000.
Well, that was just a part of the check from one of my financial aid checks.
Did you have your own bedroom?
Yes.
Did you have your own bathroom?
No.
Who did you share the bathroom with?
Everybody that used the house. As far as the communal upstairs bathroom, so it wasn't just my bathroom.
And what were you supposed to pay a month?
Before we moved in, I told him, being a graduating senior, that my money was based solely upon receiving periodic financial aid checks, at which time I told him this is how I'd be able to pay him whatever money. And so he knew about this situation before.
Tell me what he knew.
He knew that I would be getting financial aid checks each semester.
Fine.
And that
So you
from
did
those
get a-
checks, I would pay him what I could towards the money for living at his place.
Without any set amount? So you could have given him, let's say, $500 for 6 months, and that would have been okay.
No, Your Honor. He wanted to pay, or come to a limit to pay $750 a month.
Ah, okay. You know, I knew if you let you
Oh,
talk long enough, if I let you talk long enough, eventually we were going to get someplace close to the truth, sir. So, according to you, he wanted $750 a month, which you agreed to pay when you got your financial aid checks.
Correct.
How much did you give him?
A little less than $7,500 total.
So that would be for 10 months. Did he give you $7,500?
Overtime, yes.
So how much do you think he owes you?
I've come up with about $6,000.
For what?
Well, it was $750 plus utilities and a sticker for him to park his car. I actually have a breakdown of the whole payment history that
I don't need the whole payment history. If you acknowledge that he paid you $7,500, that's for 10 months. That means he owes you 3 months' rent, which is $2,250.
Well, do you not include utilities in that?
It does not include utilities,
Our
sir.
agreement included utilities.
Show me in writing. Well, what I'm telling you is, if you allow somebody to live with you for 13 months and do not collect utilities from them on a regular basis, I'm not going to waste my precious time, 2 graduate degrees, and go over month-to-month Con Edison bills. What I'm telling you is, if you got $750 a month from him, Mr. Rohenley, we wouldn't be standing here today.
Exactly.
Okay.
But
And that's exactly what I'm going to give you.
I would
$750 a month for 13 months. He's already paid you for 10, which means he owes you $2,250. Now, is there any reason why I shouldn't enter a judgment in that amount, sir?
Just for the living condition that I was provided with when living at this place. This is why he didn't receive, or what I feel he got paid the full amount of what I was provided living at this place.
That's why we talked about a free country,
Correct.
Mr. Debnam.
Correct. So
Free
that
country
was my
means
only
you.
complaint.
Who's the person that's raising her hand that's irritating
I would
me?
agree. Except for I just didn't have the opportunity.
Who's the person raising their hand that's irritating me?
This is my fiance. And she's the person who lived with me at this place, not lived, but came and stayed at my place. Or not
So
our
it
place,
wasn't
excuse me.
only his girlfriend that stayed. Your
No.
girlfriend stayed too.
I'm sorry.
Just a second.
4 or 5 days a week.
So it wasn't only his girlfriend that stayed. It was your girlfriend that stayed.
My girlfriend would come there every other weekend and spend
So?
the weekend. Correct.
So she stayed. And if she didn't like living there because of the cold and the mold, she wouldn't have come.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Should have gone to her house, but not stand there and kvetch, sir, that you didn't like the circumstances and you stayed anyway. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,250. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Kelvin Sarden claims former friend Megan Foote drove his car recklessly and crashed it. Megan says the accident was the car's fault.
Mr. Sarden, you allowed the defendant to borrow your car. She took your car. She totaled your car. You want it fixed or replaced.
Yes.
Ms. Foote says that you loaned her your car. She did total your car. It was your car's fault, and she's counterclaiming for the pain and suffering she endured when your car was in an accident. What kind of car was this?
The Lexus ES300,
What year?
1993.
How long have you had it?
About 7 to 8 years.
Have you had any trouble with the car?
No.
Has the car ever been in an accident?
No.
You have it serviced regularly?
Yes.
And it has never been in a reported accident other than this one?
No.
Tell me about the circumstances surrounding your loaning Miss Foote the car.
She was supposed to go to the store.
Where were you first?
We was at a mutual friend's house. We was there for a birthday party for a little kid. I had showed up later on, and then...
What date was it?
March 17th, 2007.
And I assume you knew her before?
Yes.
How long have you known each other?
For about 1.5 years, closer to 2.
Just friends?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so go.
So I had let her borrow my car. She was supposed to go to the store. Now, in order...
Did she ask you to borrow the car?
Actually, we had needed to go on a store run, and I did not feel like going out. I had just came back from driving all day, so I did not feel like going out, so I had let Megan borrow the car.
Well, tell me how it came about.
We was talking, we was in a room, and then everybody was like, we need to go to the store. So I'm like,
What did you have to get?
We had to get cigarettes and beer.
Okay, go ahead.
And then I had let her borrow the car.
I still haven't heard how that came about. Somebody said we need cigarettes and beer.
Okay,
And?
we was talking, everybody was talking. I'm sitting there saying, I'm not going to the store. So then she has said, I'll go to the store, you know I'm good. And I said, Meg, I said, are you sure you straight? She was like, Cal, I'm good. So I let her borrow the car.
Oh, okay. So everybody had been drinking,
No, not everybody, no.
but you asked her whether she was okay.
Yes.
Anybody been doing drugs that evening?
No.
Smoking a little?
No.
Just beer?
Yes, beer and cigarettes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so then she had asked me to borrow the car to go to the
To
store.
go. She said, I'll go.
Yes.
And I'm good.
Yes.
Which means that she was
Yes.
together enough to go.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So then she went to the store, and now from the house that we was at to go to the store, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to go to the store and back. So I had noticed my car hadn't been back in about a half an hour, so then I started to worry. And then so I had started to eat me some soup, and then after I finished the soup, I had noticed that my car still wasn't back. And then so one of my friends, female friends, had came over, and she was like, are you still waiting for your car? And I said, yes. And she was like, well, I think your car might have been involved in an accident up the block. And I was like, oh, no. So then I hopped in my friend.
Okay, and you found the car. Whatever. All right, you didn't witness the car accident, but you were there.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you on your way to the store or from the store?
I was on my way from the store.
On your way back to the party?
Yes.
And what did you have in the car?
I had actually gone to pick up my roommate, and he was supposed to pick her up from work that evening. He had gotten intoxicated and forgot.
Who?
She had... Calvin.
Was supposed to pick up your friend?
Yes.
Your Honor.
Fine. What about this beer and cigarette run?
We had gone to pick up cigarettes at the
Who
store.
did?
Me and my roommate.
So first you picked up your roommate.
Correct.
And then you went to pick up beer and cigarettes.
Cigarettes. There was
Just
no
cigarettes?
beer to be picked up. No.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
And then you were on your way home.
We were on our way back to the party.
How far from the party were you? About a block?
Probably a minute to 2 minutes away. A few blocks.
So tell me what happened.
I was driving. The steering had malfunctioned. Let me get over here. The steering had malfunctioned probably about around here, where the car had gone into the mailbox. One of my passengers that was sitting in the front passenger seat had stated that I was going to hit a mailbox.
Don't tell me what anybody stated to you.
This way. It had swerved back to the other side of the road. Then it went over to the other side again and had gone up on the grass, hit the telephone pole, and that's about all I remember because I was knocked unconscious.
You have a driver's license?
Yes, I do.
You have a car?
Not at the time, no, I did not have a vehicle.
Did you ever have a vehicle?
Yes.
What happened to the car?
I had sold it because of personal issues.
Sold it why?
I had been going, I'm a single mother, and I was more concerned about caring for my child at the time. The car was not in my expenses. It wasn't in my means at the time, so I sold the vehicle so I was able to accommodate my son as properly needed.
You work?
Yes, I do.
How do you get to work?
I have a vehicle now. I went and purchased a vehicle about a couple months ago.
This happened in March.
Correct.
A couple of months ago is April, May.
Right. I purchased the vehicle in May.
When had you sold your other vehicle?
That was, what, November of 2006?
From November until 2006 until May, what did you do?
I had family members helping me out.
What does
My
that
brother
mean?
lent me his car every now and then.
Well, how did you get to work every day?
I would have my family members drop me off to work.
Who do you live with?
I live with my roommate.
She talks very, very fast on her feet.
Your Honor, can I
But I don't believe everything that you're saying to me. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
You understand that? You know, because if something doesn't make sense, there's always that slight hesitation.
Right.
So you can always tell when somebody is giving you a line.
Right.
Making things up as they're going. You understand what I'm saying
Yes,
to you?
I do.
Perfect. Okay, where's the car now?
The car is total.
Total?
I have, yes, and I have pictures also right here showing
like
that it's
to see
total.
it.
And also I have,
Boss, did you replace it?
no,
You know what the blue book is on it?
yes. I have it right here.
I'd like to see it.
There we go, right there. And also, Your Honor, just to make you aware, in that area, it's a 30-mile-per-hour zone, and I have pictures of that showing that it's a 30-mile-per-hour zone.
I'd like to see that,
Yes.
because this wasn't a 30-mile-per-hour accident.
No way.
Now, how fast were you going?
To be honest with you, I don't really recall, but I was never given a speeding ticket.
Were you taken to the hospital?
I refused the ambulance ride because I didn't know what kind of situation he had as far as insurance. I didn't want to put him into
Just a second.
financial debt.
What, are you kidding me? You didn't go to the hospital because you probably had a high blood alcohol level.
I was never given a sobriety test.
I didn't ask you that.
Also, Your Honor, I have in my police report where it says that she has slid 144 feet. Also, if you was doing about 50 miles per hour, you would have been able to stop at around 175
Well, you don't have
feet.
any expert testimony. She doesn't have any expert witness, do you? Are you a mechanic? Friend, you're not a mechanic, are you? You have any proof that there was something wrong with his car?
No, I do not. Your Honor,
What?
I do have an eyewitness that was in the vehicle with me that saw the steering malfunction and lock up on me
Before or after you slammed on the brakes?
before.
Oh, really? Love to hear that witness. Love to hear that witness.
Do I stand up?
Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? The question is,
I was there.
are
and I
you
did
sure
see the-
you want to do this, is my
Yeah.
question. Fine.
Yes.
Over here. Your last name?
Rosado.
Miss Rosado, what arrangements had you made to go to the party?
Went to work and I was like, you know what, there's a birthday party, I can go to the party after work.
I said, what arrangements had you made to go to the party?
She was gonna come pick me up.
Now, what would possibly give her the impression that he was supposed to pick you up?
He had told me that day, he had dropped me off that morning to work.
Was there anything wrong with the car?
Not that morning,
How many times has he taken you to work?
a couple of times.
How many? There's a couple. A couple is two.
Maybe 4 or 5 times,
How many other times have you been in his car?
a lot of times.
Ever had any steering problems?
One time we were in the vehicle and he was like, did you guys feel that? It was his car basically what he was trying to say was his car was messed up when we was in the car.
Don't tell me basically what he was trying to say, madam. Tell me about what happened.
We was in the car one day and we was driving on the highway. I believe they was on the highway. And we was on the highway and he was like, wow, did you guys feel that? He's like, I have to get my car fixed.
When was that?
The day before we had the accident.
But it had nothing to do with the steering.
Maybe not. I'm not sure. I don't
Now,
know
the
nothing
day,
about cars, Yana.
listen to me, the day before the accident, so he said to you, wow, something's wrong with the car. But yet you got in the car that morning for him to take you to work.
That's true.
Why would you put your life in your hands like that?
Don't know.
Only a stupid person would do that. You're not a stupid person, are you?
No.
Now, you want to tell me what you observed on the 17th of March?
We was in the vehicle. We was driving on Pritchard, which is the road.
How fast were you going?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Well, let me ask you this. Were you going 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour?
I wasn't the passenger. I was in the back seat. I wasn't looking at the speedometer.
You don't have to look at the speedometer to know whether you were going 30 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour.
I wasn't paying attention, Your Honor.
Perfect. Then you can sit down. You weren't paying attention. I'm not interested in what you have to say. Anything else you wanted to say to me?
Yes, he signed up for an insurance policy where he knew he was only covered for him to drive his vehicle if anything were to happen in a situation like this. My question is, why would you let someone use your car when you know you're not insured if anything were to happen in your vehicle?
The question is whether you were driving negligently.
No, Your Honor, I wasn't.
That was sort of a rhetorical question. There's no question in my mind that you were speeding. Based upon the damage to this vehicle, there's no question in my mind that you were going over and above the speed limit. There's also no question in my mind that you had had something to drink that night. It's irrelevant, therefore, whether or not he had insurance that covered you. And if you got hurt, you shouldn't have driven too fast, and you shouldn't have had anything to drink while you were driving. That's the price that you pay when you act stupid. Meanwhile, you have to replace his car. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000, that's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Alan Winter says ex-boyfriend Rolando Conejo owes for a truck loan and for assaulting him during a dinner party.
Mr. Winters, you and the defendant were in a relationship for a couple of years, according to what I've read, lived together, and then the relationship ended, unfortunately, unamicably. It is your claim that you loaned the defendant some money to buy a truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And then it is your claim that he assaulted you.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that he paid for the truck through services.
Correct.
Took care of your home, took care of things for the 2 years that you lived together. Also paid money towards your mortgage every month that should be counted towards the truck debt. And this truck debt came about as a result of a loan that he had with someone else that he had been involved with. And when the two of you became involved, you said you don't want any strings attached, so you paid off the truck loan to the other person, thereby making him only beholden to you for this debt.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, when I met Alan, he offered, and that was his idea. He said, Rolando, I can help you with this. As long as you take care of the chihuahuas, help me remodeling the house, because...
Just a second. How much did you pay for the truck?
I paid $7,538 for the truck.
And how much did the defendant pay you back?
He, on June 1st, he gave me a check for $3,000.
What was the $3,000 for, sir?
For the truck.
Fine. Leaving a balance of $4,538. Because if he told you to take care of the chihuahuas in exchange for the truck, you wouldn't have given him $3,000, right?
Right.
It's going to be like shooting fish in a barrel.
I was thinking that's a lot of chihuahuas.
Your Honor.
What?
He also said, if you help me to remodel the house, that would contribute towards the loan. So in my mind, I always understood that, okay, I'm going to take care of the chihuahuas, I'm going to help in remodeling the house.
Just a minute. Forget the chihuahuas. What did you do to remodel the house?
We demolished the back of the house. That was hours of labor. And I also helped him to title a new bathroom and kitchen.
How many hours of labor did you put in the back?
Well, throughout the 2 years, I would say more than 100 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, originally, there were two loans. And last Tuesday, we went to small claims court in Utah, and he was given financial credit for the work that he did on my house.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. And I have evidence to prove that.
Okay, so that was one loan, but you've already resolved the issue, therefore,
Yes, ma'am.
with regard to any work that he may have done to pay down a loan.
Yes, ma'am.
So why are you bringing it up again? You only get credit for the work once, sir.
I don't know. He's the one that is doing all this right now. And we had a fight the last time, and...
You can only bring up the work once. Now, you want to go into this assault, sir?
Yes, ma'am. On December 1st, 2006, I was having friends over for dinner. I was having Mike and another friend over for dinner. Mike is my witness.
Mr. Winters, this assault happened December 1st, 2006.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you and the defendant separate?
In July of 2006.
Your Honor?
In July, shh, put your hand down, you'll have a chance. So this assault allegedly happened after you separated?
Yes, ma'am. We remained friends.
Fine. December 1st, 2006, I'll hear you.
Okay. He dropped the dogs off because he provided dog care for me. But the chihuahuas were owned by both of us. So he came over at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, dropped the dogs off, went up to a job interview, came back to my house at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were talking, and I asked him if he was drunk. And he said, no, I'm tired. I haven't been drinking. I knew that he had been drinking, so we went to get groceries because he was cooking Costa Rican dinner for our guests. And on the way to the grocery store, I told him, I said, Rolando, I know you're drunk, and I know you lied to me about it. You don't need to lie to me about being drunk. I knew he was going through a hard time or whatever. So when we got back to the house, it escalated into an argument, and he started to approach me. And the police had already been involved once before. And so I put up my hand and I stopped him. I said, don't come near me. If you come any closer to me, I'm going to call the police. You know that you'll be arrested immediately. So he didn't. And then I said, I want you to leave my house. You're not to stay here for dinner. I don't want this argument to happen in front of friends. And he refused to leave. So he sat on my couch for hours. He said nothing. So I sat on a chair opposite him. And I was reading or whatever. And all of a sudden, he just pops up and he's very animated, and he said, okay, we need to cook dinner. This was a few hours later. So he starts cooking dinner, and I go in the kitchen, and I'm chopping things up for him. And I told him, I said, you have to promise me that you will not drink any more tonight, and that you will not argue with me or bring up an argument while my friends are here. And he promised. So Mike and my other friend came to the house, and Rolando was very animated. He was a very gracious host. His dinner was delicious, and we had a really nice dinner. Well, after dinner, we were playing a game called Shut the Box, and it requires each player to have 10 $1 bills. I knew Rolando did not have that money, so I offered to give him 10 $1 bills early, and that's one thing that caused an argument earlier because of the money issue. So we were in the front room, and he would come in and out, and he was very pensive, and he would sit and watch us, and then he would disappear. The game becomes very rambunctious. We were screaming and yelling and having a good time and laughing. And we were also drinking cocktails. And the next thing we know, Rolando showed up in the living room wearing nothing but my bathrobe. He had gone into my bedroom and taken off all his clothes, and he had his underwear and my bathrobe on. And he came in immediately, started verbally attacking me, and Mike and I watched him, and we didn't comment. We said nothing. My other friend is a person that I also used to date, and so Rolando started to argue with him, and my other friend started to defend me. After a while of hearing Mr. Conejo just scream and yell, the three of us went into the kitchen to get away from him. And so...
And left him?
Yes, ma'am, in the living room. He followed us into the kitchen. He picked up a glass of water, and he went to throw the water on me, but he hit my other friend, who's not here today. And then before I knew it, he was just hitting me in the face. And I have pictures of my face
I'd like to see
to show. I also have a letter from the Victims Resource Center from Salt Lake City. So Mike and my other friend grabbed Mr. Conejo and held him down, but he wouldn't stop fighting. There was blood all over my kitchen. I went into the bathroom to see what my face looked like because I'm a flight attendant. They won't allow me to fly when my face is cut up. And it came to a point, Rolando would not stop. He just would not stop. And so my friend picked him up physically and threw him off my front porch. He landed in a pile in the snow. And my friend wasn't even sure if he was hurt because he landed on a sidewalk in the snow.
And he was wearing his bathrobe at the time?
He was wearing my bathrobe at the time. And so a few minutes later, Mr. Conejo once again jumped up and took off. And that's why I didn't call the police.
Okay, Mr. Conejo, let me hear what happened on December the 1st, if you remember.
First of all, I want to mention that we were still in a relationship.
Wonderful. What happened on December 1st?
On December 1st,
Tell me how he got all cut up.
On December 1st, he called me and said, Rolando, come over. I want to invite you to have some cocktails to drink. And I went over to drink with him. And then he's like, we can invite some people over to play games. And that was Mike and his other friend. And Alan and me and his other friend, we were drinking. I had been in this relationship for 2 years. It was very dysfunctional. Alan would come from flying, and he would... I want to hear about December 1st. Well, we were drinking, and Alan punched me on the face because I told their friends that I had to put this facade pretending that we were in this good relationship. So he punched me in the face because I said that, and then he started attacking me, and we got in this fight. His friend... May I see the photographs of your face, please? I don't have a photograph, but he punched you? He punched me first. Then did you... I'd like to see the police report. I don't have one, but this is a pattern that Alan has. I don't want to hear pattern. I want to hear see police report. In May, we had a fight. I don't want to hear May. I want to hear December. I don't have a report on that. Where did you go after you ran away? I didn't run away. He kicked me out of the house. Where did you go? I went to John, that is my witness. John, stand up. John, you have a last name?
Crapo.
Mr. Crapo, you remember December 1st?
I do.
I'd like you to describe the defendant's condition when he came to your house. First, how did he get there?
He said he walked. It's about 3 blocks away.
Then what was he wearing?
A bathrobe.
And how did he appear to you?
Very distraught. He was crying. He was bleeding.
Listen to me. Was he drunk?
Yes. That's it.
Okay. You have a drinking problem, sir? You have an alcohol problem. You know, I've been in the business for a long time. I can tell alcohol problem from a mile away. You have to stop drinking. He may be able to handle it. You can't. You have to stop drinking. Are you living with this gentleman now? I am. You know he has to have help in order to get rid of this problem. Unless you have a problem, too. I don't know if you have a problem, too. But he has a problem.
I understand what you're saying.
Have you suggested to him that he get some help for his drinking?
No.
Why not?
I'm not sure it's to that point.
It's that point. He needs help for his drinking. He may be a functioning alcoholic, but he needs help for his drinking.
As does Alan, I believe.
Not the same way.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Bodies are excused. You may step out.
22-year-old Christina Munoz is suing her former friend, 21-year-old Erica Miloserdorf, for accidentally killing her Maltese puppy when she fell on her.
Miss Miloserdorf, you had a terrible accident with the plaintiff's puppy. You want to tell me what?
The plaintiff in
Your
Vegas.
friends?
My friends for the weekend. And we were outside. She went to go get her mail. We took her little Maltese dog, Isis. And when we came back, she asked me to watch her dog, left me responsible to watch the dog when she went upstairs to put the mail away. I was playing with the dog outside. The dog went under my leg. The leash wrapped around my ankle, and I tripped and I fell on top of the dog. Unfortunately, it collapsed the dog's ribs and punctured the dog's lungs, and it died on the way to the hospital.
And you want her to pay
Yes.
for the dog?
Yes.
And?
I don't think it's fair. It's an accident that happened. It's a responsibility that shouldn't have been left on me. I was watching it as a favor for her while she went upstairs.
You could have declined.
I could have, but I didn't because I didn't even think anything was going to happen.
Of course not. Let me ask you this question. What's your first name?
Erica?
Erica. How did you get to your friend's house?
I drove.
Let's say instead of the dog wrapping itself around your legs, you accidentally ran over her dog with your car.
It'd still be an unfortunate accident, but maybe then I'd feel responsible. But this is an accident. I accidentally fell and tripped over
You mean
the
it was a
dog.
double accident?
Yeah.
Well, you're responsible. You're walking this puppy on the leash. You're holding the puppy on the leash. It's your responsibility to see to it that the puppy doesn't entwine itself around your legs. You didn't mean for it to happen. You were trying to pay attention, I assume, but you didn't do a good enough job.
But it wasn't my responsibility.
It
though.
was your responsibility. You assumed the responsibility. Now, sometimes things happen that you have no control over. But in this case, you had control over it. It was due to your negligence that the puppy got entwined in your leg. The puppy can't think about that. You're supposed to think about it. I really am trying to explain it to you so that you'll understand it, because I don't think that you are a bad person. I just think that you are misguided. So I'm trying to give you guidance. How much was the puppy?
It was $14.99.
Did you replace her?
Well, we got a gift from my parents saying that we got a new Maltipoo. So it wasn't the full Maltese, it was the Maltese and a poodle.
They're cute.
They are cute. They are very cute. But, I mean, the Maltese was a purebred compared to now it's a half-breed, so.
Well, Maltese and poodles are wonderful little dogs because they have a great coat that you don't have to deal with as much, right?
Yes.
And they don't yap as much.
No, she does not bark at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I had Maltese.
Oh.
I know. They bark all the time. All the time. Anyway, you owe the price of the dog, $1,499 judgment for the plaintiff. Are you still friends?
Probably not after this.
Well, you should be. It was an accident.
Yeah, it was an
It
accident.
was an accident. It's an accident that she was responsible for, but it was still an accident.
Yes.
That's all. Thank you.
Bodies are excused. You may step out.
Gilbert Manigault is suing his neighbor, Thomas Linder, for medical bills. Gilbert claims Thomas's son, 16-year-old Thomas Jr., shot him in the leg with a BB gun.
What were you doing with a BB gun?
I was in my backyard shooting targets.
What kind of targets?
Cans,
How big is your backyard?
pretty big.
Your Honor, the target.
How big?
About the size of this room.
That's not so big. It's a little backyard. How old are you?
16.
Who bought you the BB gun?
My father.
Does your father have other guns in the house? Oh, it's not an answer. Does your father have other guns in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of guns does your father have in the house?
BB gun.
Where does your father use his BB gun?
He doesn't. He has a lock on it.
Why?
Safety.
Who else lives in your house?
Just me and my father.
Well, what is he trying to be safe from?
I don't know, ma'am.
What are you trying to be safe from, sir?
In case of accidents. I mean,
Right. What kind of accidents might you have been referring to, Mr. Linda?
in case, somebody gets hurt, badly hurt or something.
All right, so now, I've had enough joy. Now let's get down to business. Mr. Manigault, according to your complaint, this young man was outside fooling around, shooting off his BB gun. You came outside, he shot you in the leg.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to be compensated.
Yes, ma'am.
You had some medical bills?
Yes, ma'am. I also have pictures of my injuries.
I'd like to see them. How long have the two of you been neighbors?
About a year and a half.
All right. I'm listening.
Well, my son was in the backyard playing with his BB gun.
That's what he said, and he shot Mr. Manigault.
Right. And at the same time, what you don't seem to realize, Your Honor, is Gilbert also had a BB gun, and he was also playing with TJ earlier in the day. So he knew that my son was out there playing in the yard. And what he did was, after he got done in the yard, he went around to the front of the house. You'd have to ask my son, because he was there. I was in the house. I wasn't there when Gil was...
Fine, then I'm going to ask him. You were playing with Mr. Manigault earlier in the day?
We were shooting BB guns and shooting the targets, the cans. And on the left side of my house, there was
Just a second. When were you out with Mr. Manigault shooting BB guns?
That day.
Your Honor, no.
What time?
Afternoon.
What time?
1 o'clock, around?
Are you guessing?
Kind of, yeah, because...
I don't want you to guess.
Yeah, about 1 o'clock.
Fine. And what time did you finish playing with Mr. Manigault?
About 2 o'clock.
Your Honor...
Shh.
Okay.
And then what happened?
I was in the backyard. On the left of my house, there's kids...
So Mr. Manigault left?
No, we were playing. We were out in the backyard. We were shooting towards the cans. And the reason why we were shooting that way is because on the left of my house, there was kids in the backyard. Behind me, there was kids in the backyard. And on the right, there were dogs. And the only place that there wasn't any people or dogs was right there where I was shooting the cans.
And? Keep going.
And he went around the house. I had thought he went inside.
He went around the house, so he left.
He went to the front, yes.
So he left.
Yes.
And?
I had thought he went in the house. And I was shooting the cans. And he jumped out and went, hey, like trying to scare me. And he knew I was shooting the cans, and he knew which way we were shooting them.
Your father believes this story? Go ahead, Mr. Manigault.
Your Honor, that's not the way it went. January 22nd, 07, I was in my house, and I was actually laying on my couch watching this show. I was. So I'm watching this show, and I kept hearing this pinging noise on my air conditioner that's in back of my couch in my living room. So I got up and I went outside to see what it was. I didn't see anybody in the front. I went around the side. We had no playtime, me and him. I'm a grown man. Why would I want to play with a kid?
Because it's a good story for him to tell his father.
Okay, so anyway, I went around the corner of the house. There's a 3-foot-high fence between him and I. He was out there with his girlfriend shooting a gun at my air conditioner. I told him, why are you doing that?
My girlfriend was out there with me.
Listen to me, sir. Your father may believe this baloney story that you told him. Don't you know that I can tell when people lie when they're telling the truth? Hairs on the back of my neck go up when somebody's telling me a lie. That's why they keep me here. There's nobody that can tell a lie in front of me that I can't spot.
Ma'am, I had a witness, but she couldn't come because she had school.
Oh, and if my parents were taller, I would have been taller and happier, too. You shot him in the leg. That's your fault.
He jumped out trying to scare me, ma'am.
Your Honor, no.
Listen to me.
Your Honor, if I may speak, if you look at the pictures here, you can see the condition of where he was shooting, the target he was shooting at.
The pictures have nothing to do with it.
Where the gentleman
Mr. Linda,
lives.
you weren't home.
I was
And
home. Your Honor, I was home.
in the
I
house.
was in the house. My window is right where he was standing.
Year-old is an idiot. Put your hand. He's 5 children, and I wouldn't give any of my 16-year-old idiots a BB gun. I don't even like them to play with water guns. Put your hand down. Are you losing, Mr. Manigault?
No, ma'am.
Now, Mr. Manigault, do you have a BB gun?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Do you have children in your house?
No, I don't.
Did you ever shoot your BB gun with Mr. Linda?
No.
Just a second. Remember what I said about those hairs on the back of my head? Remember?
I understand.
Did you ever shoot your BB gun with Mr. Linda Jr.?
No, Your Honor, I shot his gun.
With him there?
Yes.
Fine. So you had, for want of another word, played with him together?
I don't know if you can call it play, but...
Whatever. I don't know why you would keep a BB gun in the house. Who is this?
That's my witness. That's my girlfriend.
That's your girlfriend. You don't shoot her in the house, do you?
No.
So
I don't... Your Honor, I bought that gun several years ago, and I've never used it.
Why don't you get rid of it?
I just keep it for protection just in case of a burglar or something like that. You know, a stray dog maybe that's trying to bite people in the neighborhood or something like that. Your Honor, I'm a grown man. I don't walk around with a BB gun. Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense for a grown man to have one. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,176. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
24-year-old Carl Anderson is suing 21-year-old Taryn Gluck and her father, Alan, for the cost to fix damage to his car. Carl claims Taryn dinged his door while pulling into a parking space.
All rise. It's case number 104 on the calendar in the matter of Anderson versus Gluck.
How old are you?
21.
Sit down. No.
Parties have been sworn in.
Thank you.
Have a seat, sir.
Mr. Anderson, you claim that the defendant damaged your car.
Yes, ma'am.
You wanted to pay for the damage. I don't know what her answer is. She sort of says, I didn't do anything wrong, and I let my father take care of it. Okay, Mr. Anderson, why don't you tell me when this happened and tell me what happened?
Okay. It was March 3rd, 2006. It was a Friday, and rent was due. That's my roommate, Sean. So we both drove to the bank to get our halves of the rent to pay the rent. So I drove my car, I parked and went inside. Sean, he drove his car through the drive-thru and got his money. So I went inside, got my half of the rent. I'm walking to my car, and as I approached my driver's side door, Taryn pulled into the parking spot on my passenger side. She pulled in and parked her car. So I know she seen me standing there.
Don't tell me what you know she saw.
Okay.
Just tell me what happened. You're standing outside your car on the driver's side.
Yes, ma'am.
She pulled in on the passenger side. What kind of car was she driving?
A Jeep Cherokee.
What kind of car?
2002 Hyundai Elantra.
So her car is much bigger than yours.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what happened next?
So she pulled in to the parking spot next to mine, and by then I had got in my car, closed my door, and I was counting my half of the rent. So I'm in my car, she opens her car door, and then boom, she hits my passenger side. So when it happened, I was kind of in shock.
Now, when she opened the car door, you must have turned around when you heard this.
Yes.
What did you see when you turned around?
Well, after it hit, she hopped out of her car real fast. She hurried up and closed the door. Then she hurried up and started walking real fast into the bank.
Have pictures of your car?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it, please.
What scratches are on my car and what scratches aren't on my car. So I waited. Mind you, I just left from
these are the scratches you're talking about, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
The two?
Yes.
1, 2?
Yes.
Not any other scratches on the car?
Just those two.
Just those two?
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
So mind you, I had just left from inside the bank. It was empty. So I'm sitting there waiting for her to come out. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes passed. So I'm thinking in my head, oh, she's probably trying to wait for me to leave to avoid the situation. So I'm sitting there waiting. She finally comes out. She's walking straight. She's not even looking in my direction. She's walking to her car, and she was about to put her car keys in her car, and I had to stop her. I said, excuse me, ma'am. And she was like, huh? And I was like, you know you hit my car with your car door when you first pulled up. And she was like, oh, I did? So when she said that, I already knew what type of integrity she had. When she tried to deny it, well, she didn't really deny it, but she was like, oh, I did? And I was like, yeah, you hit it. She was like, so what do you want to do? I was like, well, we need to exchange information. So she said, hold on. She got in her car and closed the door. So I'm thinking, oh, she must be trying to pull off. So I got behind her car, and I wrote down her tag number. So about a minute passed, and she opened the car door crying, boo-hoo crying. My dad wants to talk to you. So she put me on the phone with her dad, Mr. Alan Gulek. So I got on the phone with him. So he introduced himself. He was real polite. He introduced himself. He asked me what happened. I told him exactly what happened. Then he said, are you sure she did it? And I said, sir, I'm positive, because I was sitting inside my car when it happened. He was like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. He was like, I don't want to have to go through my insurance company. I'm a lawyer down in Miami. I'll go ahead and take care of everything for you. Just go ahead and get an estimate and fax it to me, and I'll take care of everything.
Okay, and did you get an estimate, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the estimate that you faxed to?
Estimate that I faxed, $497.76.
Can I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Because Mr. Gluick says you faxed him an estimate for $277.
No, the story, because after that, after I faxed him that estimate, I didn't hear from him. Like, months had passed, and I still didn't hear from him. So one day I was on campus. I went through the campus directory. I got her phone number. I called her. I was like, hey, my name's Carl. Do you remember me? She's like, yeah, I remember you. I was like, did you talk to your dad?
Just a second. Did you ever fax him an estimate for $277?
No, I had called him and told him I got a cheaper estimate. Because
okay. So you told him you got a cheaper estimate for $277?
Yeah.
Ah, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay. And you never got paid?
No.
Good. Go ahead.
I pulled into the bank. It was raining, so I got out of my car, walked into the bank.
Just a second. You got out of the car, and when you get out of the car, do you open this heavy door to the Jeep Cherokee with your hand or with your foot?
With my hand.
No, that's not what you do. You open the door and you give it a little shove with your foot so that it opens easy. That's what you do. That's what you did.
I didn't open it with my foot.
No, you opened it with your hand.
Right.
And then you push it with your foot because it's hard for you because a Jeep Cherokee is a high car. How tall are you?
5'4".
So that you have to hop down.
I stepped down.
Yeah. Right. Been there. Question to you is, you dinged his car. That's what you did. There's no question in my mind you dinged his car. You've probably dinged a lot of people's cars. My question to you is, why is someone who's 21 years old, who's old enough to be in possession of a big car, a big weapon, if you don't use it right, why does somebody like you call their daddy?
I wasn't sure what information I should give him, if we should call the cops or not. So I wanted
He
some
asked you for your insurance information.
He said, can I have your information?
Okay, and what did you think he meant?
My
What
phone
did you
number,
think he meant?
some
Your
way to
height,
get in
your
touch
weight,
with
your
me?
color, your eye color?
Some way to get in touch with me?
Then you shouldn't be driving a car. If you thought he wanted some way to get in touch with you, then you shouldn't be driving a car.
I thought the cops should have been called then if he wanted my insurance information.
So, fine. You went into your car and you called your father.
Yes, ma'am.
Did your father say call the police?
No, that's why I didn't.
Well, what did your father say to you?
He said give him your information.
And what information did he say to give him?
I gave him both of our phone numbers and our name.
That's not the information he needs. He needs your insurance information. Did your father say give him your insurance card?
No, ma'am.
Well, he should have. That's what it means when you exchange information. Right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you can stand up.
Thank you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carl Anderson says fellow motorist Taryn Gluck owes for dinging his car door in a bank parking lot. Taryn denies causing any damage.
Okay. Why didn't you tell your daughter to call the police? She had been involved in an accident.
Well, number one, in the state of Florida, you're only required to call the police when there's personal injury damage, which there was not, and that was the first thing I ascertained.
Perfect. Having ascertained that, when your daughter said he wants my information, that includes your insurance information. You know that. You're a lawyer.
Yes.
Well, it would seem to me that along with your name and number, he should have had your insurance information, unless you said to him, send me an estimate and I'll take care of it. Is that what you said to him, sir? Look at me. Don't look over there.
I didn't say it in those words, no.
I don't care whether you said it in those words, sir. It's either, here's my insurance information, take it up with my insurance company, or fax me an estimate and I'll take care of it.
I said, send me some paperwork, send me some information, and we'll take care of it. That was
Fine,
what
then
I
you
said.
pay for it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, it's clear to me that these two dings are what was caused by the car door hitting your car and being irresponsible enough not even to get out and look at it and say, I hit one door against another. At least let me look at it and see if I caused any damage.
I looked at it.
No, you didn't. When you hit his car, you left as soon as you could. When he called you on it, when you came back, then you looked at his car.
Correct.
But when you did it, you didn't look at his car. You hightailed it out of there as soon as you could. Wrong thing to do. You got to act responsibly. You look like a nice girl. You're big enough to drive a car. You have to do the right thing when you drive a car. And you're supposed to be careful when you get out and not use your foot. You know, they call that the Florida foot. I live in Florida. I know the Florida foot. The way women get out of a car. Unfortunately, it's mostly the women. They get out, and older men. They get out of the car, they open the car door, and they go, boom! So it opens the door easily so that they can get themselves out of the car. That's what you did. Okay, you owe him $277, and it wasn't the right thing to blow him off and to not keep in contact with him. You neither, sir. Wrong thing to do. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you, that's all.
James Mixon is suing his former live-in girlfriend, Keisha Glade, for the return of his furniture and baseball cards.
Mr. Mixon, you and the defendant lived together for a period of time in her home.
Yes.
And according to you, she unceremoniously kicked you out and kept some furniture that belongs to you.
Yes.
You want it back. Ms. Glade says that you were nothing but a lazy bum during the time that you lived there. You paid no rent. Least you could do is leave the old furniture there. It's not worth very much anyway. She is counterclaiming. She says that you should have paid rent, but you didn't, and that you slashed her tires because you got mad at her. So let me make this simple. The fact that he should have paid rent, you are absolutely correct. But that doesn't mean he's going to pay rent, because you allowed him to be a bum.
True.
So you were an enabler. How long did he live with you?
For a year and a month.
And how many months of those 13 months that he lived with you did he pay rent?
None.
None. Why are you laughing?
Because that was funny.
No, she's not funny. I'm funny.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Mixon claims ex-girlfriend Keisha Glade won't return his personal belongings. Keisha is countersuing for unpaid rent and slashed tires.
How many months did you pay rent, Mr. Mixon?
None, like she said.
You were a bum.
No.
Well, if you don't pay rent, you're a bum.
We never had an agreement on that.
You don't have to have an agreement.
I was supposed to take care of the other bills.
What other bills did you take care of?
PG&E, water, and cable.
How much was that a month?
About $600.
And you would pay all those bills, and you have proof that you paid those bills?
Yes, and
I'd like to see.
Here's some of the bills. This doesn't go with that.
And proof that you paid them?
I got the receipts. If I gave her the receipt, it was only because she dropped me off at work early.
What's the Salvation Army?
We went and bought a computer desk and a TV stand that I paid for. She said I don't do nothing, though.
When did you buy this furniture?
I bought it maybe a month after I moved in with her. I came in with a futon. I came in with a stereo set. I came in with that set of baseball cards right there.
Oh, well, that you're going to... That set of baseball
That's
cards?
mine. I had since I was
I don't have a problem giving it back
Can
to
I
him.
see the set of baseball cards, please? Oh, one of my children would be bonkers over those baseball cards. I have to take a look at that. Are you a real collector, sir?
Yes. Had those since I was in the
mint
6th grade.
condition, or what kind of condition
They're
are
in
these?
mint condition.
Really? You know they're worth a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Are these Topps baseball cards?
Tops and Fleers.
Well, Fleers aren't worth as much.
I know.
right?
That's why I try to stay more with Tops.
See, I know a little bit about it.
I see.
Okay. Give him back his baseball cards, Butcher Bird. Surprised he left without them.
I also had a pending restraining order which granted me possession rights of the bed, the couch, the TV, and the lamps that he's here.
Show me. You mean property restraint that number 13 is circled? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I actually filed it. It asked me what possessions that I still had for me to temporarily keep possession of.
Well, you can't temporarily keep possession of his property anymore. He's going to pick it up. You have a temporary restraining order. You have to send somebody to get your stuff.
Okay, but
Sir, within 5 days. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
I just want my rent.
Just a second. Listen to me. You're not entitled to any rent. You didn't have a contract with him for rent.
We had a verbal agreement. The whole initial reason why he moved in was because I needed financial help.
Listen to me very carefully. Madam, if you let somebody live with you for 13 months and they're not paying rent, you don't come to complain about it now. He's getting his furniture back. He got his cards back. Now we're going to hear about your tires, and I don't want to hear any nonsense about rent.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Oh, tires.
Well, my witness here saw him slash the second tire on that day.
Your name?
Leandra Whitmore.
On what day did you allegedly see Mr. Mixon slash a tire?
I forgot.
No, don't look over there. Don't look over here. Look over here.
I forgot what day it was on, but it was the same day as the first tire. We were at the studio recording. I'm a recording engineer. I record her. And I heard the car skirt by the first time. I was sitting at the computer. And I had came outside. When I came outside, I saw him by her left tire. Then he ran and got in his car and drove off.
Did you tell her about it?
Mm-hmm. I came right in.
Did you file a police report that day?
No, we didn't do a police report.
Why not?
Because that was the first incident of
What
numerous
difference does it
amounts
make?
of incidents.
What difference does it make?
Because I didn't want to get in it because he's family with my uncle, and I didn't want to say anything, but things keep happening.
Did you ever file a police report?
No, ma'am.
I filed one later after his witness started harassing us.
I mean, this lady?
Yes.
She has nothing to do with this case. She has nothing to do with me. She has nothing to do with anything that's going on here today.
I agree.
The only thing that I have to worry about today is, am I satisfied that he slashed a tire? I'm not so down. Thank you. I'm not convinced you saw anything. I am convinced that you're going to get your old furniture back. 5 days. You make the arrangements to get it, send somebody else to get it. And who is this person?
That's the neighbor. She the one who pulled my clothes in when Keisha threw my stuff out in the rain.
Okay.
Absolutely not. She's the nosy
Listen
hag.
To me. Listen to me. Whose neighbor is she?
She's my
Hers.
neighbor.
Okay, well, good luck. Bye.
Mark Windhausen says ex-girlfriend Lana Speakman owes for the money he paid towards a Dodge Durango. Lana claims Mark was stealing from their share for his drug habit.
Mr. Windhausen, you and the defendant lived together for a period of time, and it is your claim that at the time she broke up with you and told you to leave, she kept your property. She kept the truck that you had been making payments on and some other personal property that you had purchased for the house.
Correct.
Ms. Speakman said everything is hers.
Yes.
When did you move in together?
About 6 of 04.
June of 04.
Right.
How old are you?
I'm 24.
How old are you?
34.
You have children?
No.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Wendhausen?
I'm a welder.
How long have you been welding?
About a year and a half now.
Make good living?
Decent. It's fair.
Tell me what you make.
I'm about $14.50.
An hour?
An hour, yes.
How much did you make last year?
How much did I make last year? About $12,338.
You worked full-time?
Yes, I did work full-time. I got laid off in December of 05, and I was rehired back on, so I had
When?
it in February.
But other than that, you work continuously?
Correct.
And what did you do with your money?
What did I do with my money?
Why do you keep asking me a question? I know the question that I asked. What did you do with your money when you got your money, when you were living with Miss Speakman?
I cashed my checks at the U.S. Bank, and I went and paid it to, just gave her cash.
Well, how much cash did you give her?
Approximately about $340 per week.
It was different every week.
Tell me about this truck.
This truck, I needed a vehicle to get back and forth to work. I did not have one. I wasn't able to put one in my name because
Why?
my credit wasn't the greatest. And at the time, I was working on getting a work permit to make a commute back and forth to work.
What did your bad credit have to do with getting a work permit, Mr. Wendhausen?
Because I wasn't able to put the truck in my name.
Did you have a driver's license?
I did not. I just had a work.
Well, that's an answer why you can't have a truck in your name, sir.
Correct.
So you were going to drive this truck despite the fact that you didn't have a license?
No, until I got my work permit.
Did you drive the truck without
I did,
a license?
yes.
So Ms. Speakman put the truck in her name and allowed you to drive it without a license?
Correct.
Jan, down, I get to you. Okay. And who made the payments on the truck?
I did.
How much were the payments every month?
Approximately about $340 a month.
$340 a month.
Plus
It's exactly the same amount that you gave her. You said a week. That's a number you must like. You told me you gave her $340 a week when you cashed your paycheck, and now you tell me that your truck payment was $340.
That was excluding making the payments on the refrigerator and the stove and the bedroom set.
Just a second. How much was the truck payment?
About $340.
And how much did you used to give her every week from your paycheck?
Around $340, yes.
Wrong.
He's got it down, and he's not going to waver. And how did you make the truck payment?
Cash.
Now, because we're just dealing with the truck so far, when did you kick him out?
July 7th of 06.
Why?
Because I found out he was doing drugs. He actually, July 1st is actually when we broke up. He couldn't get a ride until July 7th. He stole $400 out of my purse, said he was going to the store to get ice, and didn't come back for like 12 hours because he was doing drugs.
What kind of drugs does he do?
Cocaine.
Have you ever seen him do cocaine?
No, I haven't. He told me.
What did he say?
A couple months prior, he took a lot of money. We had a joint checking account for a little while because I went to get money out and all the money was gone. Well, then I questioned him about it, and he finally told me that he was doing cocaine, that he had a drug problem, and then he didn't want to tell me what the drug was, and then he finally told me it was cocaine.
How much money did you take out of the joint account?
About $1,500.
Do you remember when?
It was March and April. He did it on 2 different occasions where he took hundreds of dollars out a couple times. I mean, hundreds, like $600 a night.
It's not true.
No?
No.
Don't do drugs.
No, I don't.
You willing to take a drug test?
I am willing, yes.
Willing to take a hair follicle test?
That's fine.
Right after court?
That's fine.
You understand that if you go for one of these tests, they will, and if it's positive, they won't let you be a welder. You understand that?
Correct.
You prepared to sign a release that the drug test results can be sent to your employer? Oh, is not an answer.
I have smoked weed, yes.
Weed
So-
we're not talking about, sir. We're talking cocaine.
All right.
Got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Perfect. If you have a problem and you're 24 years old, you better get rid of your problem. Do enough cocaine so you're going to have a brain like mush. You know, when you start up here, you can have a brain like mush. When you start over here, it's over very, very soon. Now, how could you take money out of a bank account?
It's my money, too.
Well, if you're putting in $300 a week to run a household, you have rent, you have food, you have gas, you have electric, you have all the other stuff, and was he giving you an extra $340 for the truck payment?
No, he wasn't. He gave me, his checks were different every week, so he gave, sometimes it was only $100, sometimes he didn't give me any money at all.
Yeah, because if he's making $15 an hour, earning $12,000 a year just doesn't,
well,
doesn't make it.
The truck payment was $320, and it did come directly out of my bank account ever since I bought
Well,
the
it
truck.
may have come directly out of your bank account. That doesn't mean, quite frankly, Ms. Speakman, that he wasn't giving you money. My question is, was he giving you money earmarked for this car payment, or was he giving you a certain amount of money every week?
It was different amounts every week because, like I said, sometimes his checks were always different. Sometimes he would give me nothing. Sometimes he would give me $100. There was a couple times he probably gave me $300.
And what about the monthly truck payment?
What?
Did he give you money for the
Directly
monthly
for
truck
that?
payment?
No.
In cash is my question.
No.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious, how could she make the payment for a car payment, a truck payment, a house payment, and all the other utilities if I was not paying any money to that household?
She didn't say you weren't paying any money.
But how could she afford
I make
those
a lot
vehicles?
more money than he does.
What kind of work do you do, Ms. Speakman?
I work at a factory.
And how much do you earn an hour?
$22 an hour.
And how much did you earn last year?
$50,000.
And you were earning $15 an hour, which is, you know, only a third less, and you only made $12,338, sir. That figure that you told me specifically, $12,338, which is what you said you earned last year, only 2 months you were out of work. Ms. Speakman.
Yes.
What did you do with the truck?
I still have the truck. I'm still making payments on the truck.
What are you going to do with the truck?
I'm probably going to keep it.
Now, if Mr. Wendhausen is prepared to get a loan for $5,000 in his name, are you prepared to give him the truck?
No.
Sure. Sure you are. Listen to me, Mr. Wendhausen. You come back to me with a fully committed loan in your name for $5,000, and I will direct Ms. Speakman to turn over the truck to you. Do you understand?
I do.
But she certainly doesn't want to give you a truck that's in her name, and she's certainly not going to give you the value of it or what you claim to put in, because you can't prove what you put in to the truck unless you have canceled checks.
No, I paid everything cash. Yes.
Right. So go get yourself a loan, and then Miss Speakman is going to turn over the truck to you. You think that's going to happen, Miss Speakman?
I don't think he'll be able to get a loan.
Correct. Correct. But if he can.
But what about I paid it, like for the whole year that he hasn't been there?
It was sort of a fluid situation. Right. But I certainly don't think that you ought to get stuck with this truck and turn it over to him. And I certainly don't believe that he, each and every month, paid you his portion of the expenses as well as the $340 for the truck, because he didn't make that much money.
Right.
Now, what other property do you claim, sir, is yours that she kept when you
I have
moved
a
out?
GE arranged stove that I
When
purchased.
did you purchase that, sir?
I purchased it in about 11:05.
And you moved out in?
7/06.
And did you eat while you were there?
I did, yes.
And did you use the stove?
I only had it for about a month or two before I moved out.
Show me proof that you purchased it.
He just said we got the stove in November and he moved out in July. So
I got it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I see it's purchased by you, Mark Wendhausen.
Right.
Show me how you paid for it.
I paid cash.
I have a check.
Can I see it, please?
These are the 2 payments I made. These are the 4 payments that were made total.
Okay. She's got proof of the payments, sir.
Proof of the payments that I paid?
Well, show me your payments. It doesn't say that this was paid in cash.
I paid those payments, ma'am.
To whom?
To Turner Electric.
Show
in
me.
cash. Don't you see there's cash? She writes checks. I pay cash.
What else, Mr. Wendhausen?
I also have receipts here for refrigerator.
When you moved into the house, Mr. Wendhausen.
Can you please tell me where all my money was going?
All your $12,000?
Well, I lived there for
Just
two and a half
second.
years.
All your $12,000?
His money was going up his nose. Mine
Just a
was
second.
paying the bill.
Mr. Wendhausen, I don't think that you understand, sir. That barely supports a person. You don't get it.
I'm not getting it. I'm making payments that, you know.
Show me that you're still making payments.
I'm done. Those are the receipts. That's paid off.
And you paid for it, and you used the refrigerator, and you used the stove while you were in her house?
Yeah, it's my
Goodbye,
name.
Mr. Wendhausen.
Do you think I could
think you have a problem, and I think that you really have to take care of your problem. If you manage to secure a loan for the truck, I am going to direct Ms. Speakman to turn the truck over to you. We will recalendar this case as soon as the clerk receives indication that you've received a loan, and I will direct this truck that you want to be turned over to you. Do you understand?
Okay, I do, but...
Good. Thank you very much. Goodbye.